Hey, what's up, my YouTube family? You know who's in the house, your man DJ Roxy from Roxy Entertainment, once again with another video. Before I start, I want to wish everybody Happy New Year to all my subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, it's the perfect time to hit the subscribe button. Now, into this video, as you can see in front of me, I got the Mackie, the legendary Mackie 1604 VLZ. Now, this is no new mixer on the market. This mixer been around since like 1996. And just to backtrack, I had the original predecessor to this mixer that came out in the 90s, like in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken, in 1990, the predecessor, the original one to this mixer came out. Then this was kind of the facelift to that mixer, and this one came out in 96. Now, I had the original one, and that was my very first mixer, which I was in love with that mixer. And the reason I'm doing this video today is because I get the question asked a lot, which mixer do I recommend? And it all depends on your budget, you know, and when it comes to your lowest budget and, you know, the mixer you're looking at for the lowest budget that you might have, this would be the mixer that I recommend. You understand? Now, these mixers go anywhere right now from $130 to, I've seen it up to like $400 depending on the condition. Now, I recently got this from Guitar Center. I went to do a return in Guitar Center for a piece of equipment that was not functional. And that's a good thing about buying stuff from Guitar Center. If something is not working, you can always take it back. They give you a refund. But when I went to take that particular equipment back, I saw this that just arrived at the Guitar Center, my local Guitar Center, which I have two Guitar Center here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I saw this mixer and I automatically, it bring me back memory to when I was a kid and I had my very first mixer. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that was somewhere around 97 when I had my first Mackie 1604. But I just couldn't resist of buying this mixer, and for the price, I got this with tax and everything for $130. And this is in fantastic condition. As you can see, it's in mint condition, apart from a little scratch right here, which is minor, nothing major. It's fully functional. All the knobs, every button works, all the faders work. So yeah, and in today's video, I'm gonna just do a little quick mix down on this mixer. And once again, when you're on that low budget, which mix I recommend? The Mackie 1604. I highly recommend this mixer. Now, I know there's a lot of options out there, but I can only recommend the equipment that I use in the studio, and the equipment that I ever use, or, you know, or I presently have in the studio. Now, fortunately, I have this presently in front of me, and I'm gonna just be showcasing this stuff in front of you guys. Now, this is a beat right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix this beat down, EQ a little bit of the beat, nothing too serious, just for demonstration purposes. Yep. So right here we have an 808, and what I do with that 808, I just take some of that top end. Also, before I forget, if you the bigger brother to this, the more professional mixer to the Mackie line, I do have a video on that, which is something you can check. I'm gonna leave the link below so you can check that video out. Is the full my bad, it's the 24 channel 8 bus, the 24/8. You can check that video out. Fantastic mixer, highly recommend that mixer. The only thing I will say about Mackie mixers, and this goes to most of our Mackie lines, they're very harsh when it comes to the top end. But once you can control that, you know, by your ears, you listen to it, but they're really harsh when it comes to the top end. Even on this small mixer, just something to bear in mind. On that 24/08 as well, the high end is very, like, if you don't watch yourself, you're not gonna get you're gonna get a very high end mix at the end. But once you can control, it's all your ears, it's mixing with your ears. And that's one thing I always talk about when it comes to, you know, analog mixers, that you really looking at you really Your ears is everything that you reference to. You reference it with your ears, not with your eyes, like when you're mixing in the box. It's everything you have is just listening. All right, so right here I have my 808, you know, which I just put a little bit, take some top end on that. I have my kick. Now, the difference between this and the original one that came out before this one was that this one has your full band EQ. The other one only had 3-band EQ, which sucks. I hate mixers that only have the capability of only having 3-band EQs. Hate that. But this one has the full band EQ. This is why I recommend this one even more. Like I said, this is the 1604 VLZ Pro. Of course, there's a lot of newer mixer than this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think presently, I think it's the 4th or the 5th generation of this mixer that's out now. You understand? If I'm not mistaken, you could correct me in the comments below. But this one in particular have my heart. To me, is better than the original one, and to me, is better than the one that came out after that. Some people love the 3, which I never had the 3. I cannot talk about that. But this one really have my heart. So yeah, so we have the kick, and I would just, you know, just give it a little snare. Now with the snare, and when I'm mixing with my ears. It's what sounds good to me. You understand? Like some people will take the snare and just dry it out like this and just do this. I've seen some people mix that way, but to me, I give it a little bit of that low end of that snare so it can implement my whole kit. As you can hear that. Now right here I have a drum kit. Right here I have the bass. But let's go back to the drum kit. Now when it comes to this drum kit, I definitely don't want to put too much bass because I don't want it to compete with my actual drums. It's just something just to give it a little extra. Now we have the bass right here. Too much. Ooh. All right. We have another bass. And this would be the lower bass, so I can just and you don't want these basses to compete with each other, so this is something you play around with. So if you listen to the frequencies, if you when you're mixing, you notice there's nothing going on right here when I give it more low end. So therefore, it's just frequencies that is not corresponding to that instrument. Now this is my stereo that coming out from the MPC 3000. So you have your 8 outputs, then you have your stereo. And that EQ this depending on what instrument is playing on that. As you can hear how harsh those top end really gets on the Mackie. But once you can know how to control those top ends, you will not face that problem. But it really really heights, a lot of heights that Mackie really give you on the mixers. And even some of the line of the speakers, like some of the DJ speakers, like when you play those speakers, man, that thing got high. That thing got some really heights that can really, you know, give you some air petite, whatever you call that, you know. But anyway, man, this is just a quick surface talking about this legendary Mackie 1604 VlZ Pro. As you can see, we got 4-band EQ. This has accents. You have 6 accent, meaning, so this would be 4. If you press this button in, it gives you 5 and 6, which is fantastic. 6 accent. The original one also has 6 accents, which I used to love because I used to have like this big collection of outboard gears, like compressors and all that sort of stuff. I had some reverb, and I used to always have my compression. Something that I used to do back then when I was a kid. I would have my compressor. I would have like 2 compressors, 1 and 2, and I would have them on my send. Later on, I started using more compression on the insert, which works even better when you have the compressor on each insert. But of course, you're gonna need more compressors in that particular setup. You understand? But yeah, and I used to set up all my reverb. I used to have my reverb on this on aux tree, and used to have my delay on this aux right here. I used to use the lights, about 2 compressors and 2 effects processors. I could remember that yesterday. And even when I used to do mixing for live shows or mixing at the church, which I started out mixing at the church. That's how I got my hands on mixing. Then eventually got a job in the band to mix. And I'm talking about a 15-year-old mixing for a whole band. I'll never forget that. Really had great opportunities to learn this stuff without even going to school. Everything that I learned it from trial and error, from experience, which is very important. And you know, I tell a story sometimes. You know, I used to work for this big studio, and I was one of the big engineers there, and I was the only one that did not went to school for engineering, and I was one of the top engineers there. Like, I was the highest requested engineers in that studio, and you know, all because of experience. I never touched a school. As a matter of fact, you know, it is what it is. But yeah. So the Mackie, hope you guys enjoyed this video. The Mackie 1604. Highly recommend this mixer for a small setup. If you're on the budget, highly recommend this mixer. So I'm gonna have a surprise. I'm changing this mixer. The Yamaha DM 2000. I'm gonna be buying analog mixer. So please look out for that. A special surprise. Now, this mixer is something that you won't find too much. The mixer that I'm replacing, this Yamaha DM 2000, the mixer, because just gonna leave it as a surprise. It's a very good mixer. It's an analog mixer. Decide to go back into mixing with my analog mixer. Really miss the sound that I'm looking for when I'm mixing with analog. I started out mixing with analog. I know some people are great with mixing in the box. You know, my hat to you, but I like mixing an analog mixer. I get the best of the sound that I'm looking for. In you know, in short words, the sound that I'm looking for, I get it only with analog mixer. So I'm definitely gonna be replacing my beloved Yamaha DM 2000 with that mixer that I'm getting. So I'm gonna leave it as a surprise to you guys. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, I'm gonna have the Tascam that I have in the other studio. I'm gonna have that posted for sale, so look out for that. I'm gonna have the Tascam. That one is a DM 4800. Once again, the Tascam DM 4800, great mixer, especially if you're mixing in the box. It give you the option of DAW control. You can also check that video out that I have posted on that. So anyway, man, hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's your man DJ Roxy from Roxy Entertainment. Until next time.